Everybody listen to We're Not Wizards, because we are the best, and we're not wizards, no matter what anybody says. Goodbye.
Village Rail's card game review from Osprey Games. This review is based on the final retail version of the game provided to us by Osprey Games. We're not paid for this review. We also give a general overview of the gameplay, so not all of the mechanical aspects of the game may be mentioned. So if I explain to you how the night went, then maybe it'll give you some understanding as to why the initial impressions of Village Rails were maybe skewed in a certain direction. The game night started with a group's introduction to Acropolis, which went down sweeter than a syrup-covered jellyfish, followed by the surprisingly simple but analysis paralysis inducing The King is Dead. In the case of both of these, at least one of us had already knew how to play the game and were able to guide everybody else. Now when it came to Village Rails, we were approaching the end of the night and it was a new game to learn, and even though we were in the game zone, we found our first experience to be slightly bitty and a tiny bit overwhelming. To be clear, I'm not trying to be critical here. Village Rails is a deceitful little bugger. It arrives in a cute little box with a deck of cards, some cardboard markers and a 12-page teeny tiny rulebook. The rulebook's filled with diagrams and examples and gives you a great indication of how things can work. There's a huge difference between how the game says it plays and how it can actually play out. It needs a warning in the rulebook, if not in the box itself, that contained within that Village Rails is something of a rather large point salad. A couple of days later, I'm back at the table and the setup is the same. A single pile of double-sided cards with tracks on one side and trips on the other. A set of 7 track cards lay beneath the pile with 4 trip cards lying next to them, all to choose from. Terminus cards that deliver revenue to buy new cards. The upside-down letter L frame in which the grid of 3x4 cards is slowly laid out to create your railway network. The frame has different types of terrain on the edges, and it sometimes features that you'll use to score. Scores are kept noted on a dial tracker, which on checking has a chance to go over 100 points. Buyer beware. On your turn, you'll need to lay some track by picking the free bottom card in the row, or by paying money by leaving pound coins on the cards that you're jumping over in order to pick the one you want. If you pick a card that already has coins in it, you get to pick up the coins as well as the chosen card. More importantly, you'll have the chance to purchase the all-important trip card, which you can place at the end of one of the edges and score later once the track is complete. You can place up to 2 trip cards per track in order to boost your scoring chances. On track completion, you'll then be able to score the features on the track, taking into account the different terrains, the bonuses the different features give, and then the points the trips contribute to the score. You're also able to trade in Terminus cards to give you additional money to spend on new tracks and cards. You'll be up to your eyes in Terminus cards, which is no bad thing, as scoring for each of them differs depending on how the track was formed and what was on the line. When I first read the rule, I thought it was a mistake you collected a Terminus card on every turn, but after a few rounds, the choice made a lot of sense. There's a reasonable amount to keep an eye on here. Trips are often a future gamble, trying to make sure you can fulfill the criteria while also trying to maximise the scoring for the full line that you've completed. I found that you needed to make sure you're not forgetting to score all the features on the line, especially if the card you laid completed more than one line at a time. If you're combining lines, trips, signals and halts, the points will climb very quickly. And make sure you keep an eye on the borders themselves, as sometimes they'll have features to score as well as terrain. And unfortunately, I often found they could be overlooked and lead to frustration when the trip I thought I scored was ruined by a different terrain on the border. Now, once you get into the swing of things, you're going to have to balance the income coming in to buy more cards with the placing of cards in order to score them and give you more money to buy cards that allow you to score what appears in the line alongside the trip you're trying to score at the same time, and then correctly apply the terminus cards in order to give you income to buy the trip cards and track cards that aren't the free ones, so you can place them to give you a chance to score more points and also score complete lines, so you apply the terminus cards, which allow you to collect. And on my days, my brain's just melted. Village rails may come in a small box, but don't be tricked into thinking this is an aperitif or a small end of games night snack. Now, the first few of the 12 turns that you'll take in the game will probably take minutes to lay your track and trip cards. And as the game progresses and you're trying to maximise the scoring potential, it's not unusual for your brain to start working overtime as your track placing choice is reduced and you're trying to squeeze out every last point. That 100 point level on the score marker suddenly makes a whole lot of sense. Village Rails looks the part with clear iconography and charming illustrations on the terrain. They've done a great job of fitting the theme in with the mechanics. There's something rather neat about seeing you build a railway line as you place down your cards in the tableau you're creating, and there's a real effort to give it some country charm on the table. Think of it like a cheese pickle sandwich. It gives you a great country-like flavour, and there's a decent amount of crunch for those willing to give it a good bite. Choo-choo! You can find out more about Village Rails by visiting ospreypublishing.com/village-rails. And there's also links within the original written article, which you can see on we'renotwizards.co.uk. But thank you for listening, and until the next time, goodbye.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.